Hello students. So in the topic of the making of Indian Constitution, we have discussed so far four of the acts and started from the Regulating Act of 1773. Then the other act was Pitt's India Act of 1784. Then next act was Charter Act of 1833. And also the next act is Government of India Act 1858. So we have discussed all these acts up to Government of India Act 1958. So just a quick revision of this last act which we have already covered, that what important changes did this act introduce. So Government of India Act 1948. So for this act, you always have to keep this fact in mind that just 1 year before there was first freedom struggle or first war of independence or revolt of 1857. Okay, and in answer to that revolt or to tackle the situation, this act was passed by the British Parliament for India. So ideally the next act should come in 1853 and then 1873. Okay, after every 20 years. But after 1853, this act 1853 act we have not discussed because that was not that important. The last act before Government of India Act 1858 we have discussed is the Charter Act of 1833. Okay, so there is one act of 1853 also, Charter Act, but that is not important for the purpose of making of Indian Constitution. Okay, that's why we directly started discussing Government of India Act 1858. And why this is an important act? Because it was an answer or it was passed in the British Parliament just to tackle that situation which was going in India. Okay, so what major amendments, or not amendments, but what crucial developments was introduced by this act? So the first one is, I have already discussed that the rule of company finally got replaced by the rule of crown. So the very first change which happened after revolt of 1857 is finally the East India Company is no more in picture now. Okay. The next change which was introduced is that the power of the British Crown were to be exercised by the Secretary of the State for India. So we have discussed in the last lecture that there was a creation of a new post and the post was titled as Secretary of State for India. Okay, so this person will be in Britain only, will be sitting in British Parliament only, but he will be the sole person or the highest authority in British Parliament to answer everything related to India. So he is the head of all the matters related to India, obviously political matters. Okay, so this post it was made that the power of the British Crown will be exercised by the Secretary of State for India. Okay, then in this act only it was mentioned that this Secretary of State will be assisted by the Council of India having 15 members. So this Secretary of State will not be the only person, but he has a Council of India which has 15 members. Okay. Then this Secretary for State for India was vested with complete authority and control over the Indian administration. Just now I told you that he is the final authority, the supreme authority for Indian matters in British Parliament. Okay, so he was vested with the complete authority and control over the Indian administration through the Viceroy as his agent. So Viceroy in India, the highest authority is Viceroy. In British administration, highest authority is Viceroy, but this Secretary of State for India will be sitting in Britain, and from there he will coordinate with the Viceroy, and this Viceroy is in India only. Okay, like Warren Hastings, Lord Clive, Chelmsford, Minto, we had many. So in Britain there is this Secretary for State, and in India there is a Viceroy. So these two people will coordinate all the activities related to India. Then the Governor General was made the Viceroy of India. In the Act of 1833, that Charter Act, we studied that how the Governor General of Bengal will now be called Governor General of India. Now, this act is saying that Governor General of India will now be called as Viceroy. So from 1858 onwards, the correct term or this new designation, it's a not new designation, just they have given a new title to the already existing designation. So instead of Governor General of India, now you have to say Viceroy of India. Okay? And Lord Canning was the first Viceroy of India. Okay? So Lord Canning became the first Viceroy of India. So, just for reminding purpose, the first Governor General of Bengal was Warren Hastings. The first Governor General of India was Lord William Bentinck. The first Viceroy of India was Lord Canning. Okay? And this act abolished Board of Control and Court of Director. Now it is very easy to understand this thing. Why these two bodies, that is Board of Control and Court of Directors, got abolished? The simple reason is these two bodies were made for company, East India Company. है ना? We have seen that how one of the act established Board of Control for handling political matter and Court of Director to handle commercial matter. Now when 1858 Act has repealed or deleted this whole thing of ECI, East India Company, EIC, East India Company, then what's the point to continue Board of Control and Court of Director? So East India Company, Board of Control, Court of Director, everything just ended. It's finished. So these were the major introductions by this Act of 1858. Then the next important act in row is Indian Council Act of 1851. Okay? Now see, now we have a new terminology. Charter Act thing is gone. Government of India Act is 1858. This Government of India, again we will see one more time. है ना? But as of now, we will see Council Acts. So the first Indian Council Act, and you don't have to say first, just for factual purpose, it was first of its kind, that is Council Act. We don't never say it first Indian Council Act, we simply say Indian Council Act of 1861. Then what all changes or introduction or new kind of setup this act introduced? So first of all, it introduced for the first time Indian representation in the institutions like Viceroy's Executive and Legislative Council, even though it was non-official. So we have studied so far that through different acts, legislative councils and executive councils of Viceroy were established. But nowhere it was mentioned that even Indian can be its member. Okay, so this thing was introduced by the Act of Indian Council Act of 1861, and for the first time Indians got the opportunity to be in this executive and legislative council. Okay, although they have not been made official members, but they have only been added as non-official member, but still it was a big development, because somehow we got our representation in executive and legislative council, which is totally, everything is done by British administration only. So at least we got our representation, although we don't have any decisive vote there, but at least we made our way to enter into executive and legislative council. Then other change was it initiated the process of decentralization by restoring the legislative power of the Bombay and Madras province. If you remember that how through two of the important acts, gradually the power of Madras presidency and Bombay presidency was taken away and the whole system was centralized and the power was given only to Governor General of Bengal, which later came to know as Governor General of India. So ultimately, the province of Bengal dominated or got more power than other two provinces. But with this act, decentralization happened. What is decentralization? That is not delegation, but the power should not be concentrated to a single authority or to a single body. So it should not be centralized but decentralized. Other bodies should also get some powers. So with this act, with this concept of decentralization, the Legislative Council of Bombay and Legislative Council of Madras got some power. ठीक है? Then it introduced indirect elections. ठीक है? What is indirect election? Firstly, as an Indian, we should be happy that there is election now, है ना? But it was indirect election, that is nomination. So you will nominate and they will present. That's whole a different kind of picture. What thing you have to remember is there was introduction of election for the first time in India in the British administration, but it was just indirect election. ठीक है? And then this act also enlarged the size of Legislative Council. Earlier it was only 15 members. Now it has added few more members to Legislative Council. ठीक है? And also in addition to just increasing the number of members in Legislative Council, the act also gave some extra power, है ना? That to legislative power. For example, you can prepare a budget, you can address questions to the executive. So these powers were given to Legislative Council. Okay, so not just added few more members to Legislative Council, but also gave few more powers to Legislative Council. ठीक है? Now the next act is again Indian Council Act, but this time it is 1909. Indian Council Act of 1909. This act is important in the context that so far India has witnessed, colonized India has witnessed division of Bengal, divide and rule, okay, and that Lord Dalhousie policy, doctrine of lapse. So many ill policies of British administrations India already has witnessed, and this is the time when there was division of extremist group and modernist नहीं था वो, what is the correct word for that? Extremist and there's some word called with M, I just forgot. I will put it somewhere in description. ठीक है? तो extremist थे, for example Lal Bal Pal and Arvind Ghosh. So earlier the people of Congress, so we know that Congress was established in the year 1885 and with this we have a safety wall theory which says Congress was established with the purpose of just to fill the gap between the British administration and the people of India. ठीक है? Anyways, उसके बाद क्या हुआ that 1885 गया. So all those people, freedom fighters of that phase, that is 1885 to 1900, or even the starting years of 20th century, many of the people were not extreme. Let me check this word with my friend, then I will tell you.